Hello, Geminis. Welcome to Souls Intersect. I have your September of 2016 intuitive tarot reading. I decided to do a larger spread for September to give you a better idea of what my private readings are like. For those, obviously, I'd be answering a specific question of yours, so it would be much more direct, but I tend to use larger spreads when I do those, so I wanted to give you some idea of that. If you're interested in a private reading, please email me at soulsintersect@gmail.com, or you can book directly through the link below that takes you to my website. Okay, so at the center of the spread, we have this Eight of Wands. And so I am feeling some movement for you, Geminis. I know that in previous months, especially earlier in the summer, there was some delays happening, and it does feel like there's going to be some movement around that. I'm seeing some cards kind of working together that are, it feels like their energy is kind of behind that Eight of Wands motion. So the main one that I'm seeing that with is the Ace of Swords. And I feel like it's kind of partnering up with the Page of Pentacles and the Page of Swords. So I'll explain that in just a moment. But the Ace of Swords behind it is, it's confirming for me that this is something that you have planned on and saw coming in a way. So something that you're pretty prepared for. So it doesn't feel like a sudden change. It doesn't feel like the type of shaking up movement that comes from the Tower. It feels like planning and envisioning is something that you've been doing around whatever this change is. And with the Two of Cups next to it, I do feel that there's a lot of relationship energy around this for some of you. There's a couple of different scenarios though, because it could be partnering up in a different way, especially with those two pages. I want to say too though that the Magician also makes me feel like there's been this kind of planning in the background, and that you feel that you've manifested whatever this is in a way. So you've really put in a lot of work towards this, and there's a lots of Pentacle energy mixed with the Wand energy, and I feel like just enough air energy that it's suitable for you. So let me go back to the Pentacles and explain a little. With the pages, I feel that I'm sorry, I just misspoke. I'll go back to the pages and explain those a little. It feels like some of the other energy that's partnering up with this Ace of Swords does have to do with, it kind of goes back to some initial stages that you took in the past that were, it really feels like were seeds that were planted, and some of it had to do with, again, that planning, so some of the logic that went into it, the thought, the belief behind it, and then some of it, the more Pentacle energy. It could have been a financial investment of some kind, or a move, so something more logistical. So I feel like the pages are showing up as that, marking these seeds that were planted that really helped bring about this Ace of Swords clarity and change. That's all energy behind the Eight of Wands that is finally some movement forward. I'm sorry, I just need to move the camera slightly. Okay. So another thing I want to mention too is that this could also be players, people that you worked together with to help make this move forward, and that could be what's behind the Two of Cups. So it could be a romantic interest or a business type of partner, or someone that you have consulted with on some level. And the other thing is that they could be children with similar energies, so they could be represented by these different elements because of characteristics that they have, or they could be children that are air signs and earth signs. It is feeling mostly like energy to me, but I'm sure that it's going to show up as children for some of you, because I do feel that for some of you. And I'm also getting this sense of, especially in the romantic sense, that some of you who are pursuing a new romantic endeavor are highly considering how it's impacting your children and want your children very much to be a part of it. And I do feel some positive energy around that. I see the Five of Wands, and so I feel that there may be some conflict there. So it could be like conflict with a previous partner, possibly the father of these children if you do have children. But it's mild, and ultimately, and the Six of Wands came up at the bottom of the deck, and so I feel like while we may have that Five of Wands energy, ultimately when this transition is final, or this part of the transition takes place with the Eight of Wands, that some of that Five of Wands energy will convert to the Six of Wands energy, to where it feels more steady, more successful, at the very least reached a balance or an agreement of some kind. So some of that does feel specific again to children, but I also feel like it could be a balancing of some of that mixture of that air and pentacle energy. So if it is just energies, it could be that there's a conflict between them on some level during this transition, or maybe prior to the transition. It doesn't feel like a delay, but it does feel like possibly some sort of conflict. So that might look like, with the air energy, how you planned for something to be, that the money wouldn't be enough, or something along those lines. That would be a conflict between those elements, just as an example. Or it could be that the placement of something, or like a move, doesn't suit how you saw things, how you wanted things to be, or even like a belief system in some sense. And if it is others that you're partnering up with that are maybe not children, it feels like there could be a mild conflict there. And in that case, it does feel a little bit like it might be a little bit childish. So it could be money related, like a back and forth about that feels like some sort of competition or conflict. But again, it feels that by the time this Eight of Wands movement is complete, that it brings in more of this Six of Wands energy. So it really does feel positive. So not without hiccups, but ultimately pretty positive. I want to move to the bottom row because I haven't touched on that. Again, with a Six energy, I feel that there is a lot of positive influence, and ultimately an evening out of any type of imbalances that you might have felt. But I also feel that you're coming up as this Queen of Pentacles here, Gemini. And it's interesting with the Magician because it's also that combination of Pentacle and air energy. It can actually represent Gemini, but also Earth. It has both of those in it. Let me just focus in on this. There's a message coming through. Okay, so one thing that seems to be coming up with these September readings is I'm really feeling rising signs for certain people. It's almost as if there may be particular individuals who have just been really looking for a reading that targets them, and I feel like that's happening with Gemini. So some of you watching may have a lot of Earth in your chart, or even have an Earth sign as your rising sign. And that doesn't mean to alienate those of you who don't, but I do feel like there is some particular messages for those of you who may have an Earth sign as a rising sign. And it is about balance. The message coming through, and this would apply to anyone who this entire reading resonates with, but it does feel very particular to those with the Earth rising signs. So I'm feeling like the balance is, it just seems like ultimately to gain the balance that you need, and the stability that you want, and the comfort that these Six energies offer, that it's ultimately up to you. That, again, especially those of you with Earth as your rising sign, you have what it takes because of the combination of those two elements to really bring things together yourself. So that's especially important if you are partnering with someone. I'm hearing flaky, like somebody might feel a little bit flaky, especially in a business endeavor, or you may feel, if it's a love interest, that there's some doubts coming into play. And I just get the sense that you're the strong one. And it is that combination of elements. It's also just that you are this magician, and you, regardless of what your chart looks like, you have this grounded sense about you. And you're the driver. I just get the sense that you're the driver behind this. So remember that first, ultimately, any decision is yours. Any decision impacting your life is yours. And that you are the one behind this. You're the one that planted these seeds, and so you're in control. I just really feel that it's important to send that message to some of you, that to remember that you're in control, because that Eight of Wands can be kind of a swift energy, and if we have some of those hiccups from that Five of Wands, it can feel a little bit unsteady. It's like turbulence in a plane. You're getting there, but it can feel really disruptive, and it's up to you to remember that you have the strength and the balance to, and all the tools necessary to maintain that balance, that you're the driver. And that's going to be really important for those of you with kids too, because it might just feel like you're going to lose your cool at some point during whatever this transition is. And it does really feel like a big month of transition, because I'm getting this for a lot of people. But with yours, with Gemini in particular, it does feel like a pretty swift movement forward in some regard. So just keep your hands on the wheel and your eyes on the road, and you're the driver, and you can pull over whenever you want to. If it doesn't feel right, it's up to you. You created this Ace of Swords energy. You're the creator. It's yours to continue to create with and to be in control of. Okay. With the Two of Cups, also, and looking at this column on the right, some of the Five of Wands energy could definitely come up between you and a partner. Again, possibly work, or definitely romantic for some of you. It does feel like ultimately there's a coming together in some way, a furthering in developing this relationship. For some of you, it could be distance. It could be that you're still at a distance from this person, because I'm picking up some airwaves from that Eight of Wands. But no matter what stage this may be at, it feels like it will reach a new level, and it does feel like an improvement. It feels like something that will suit the two of you better in some way. But with that Five of Wands energy, it feels like some of the hiccups could be in regard to maybe some logistical things coming up between the two of you, because again, I see you as this Queen of Pentacles ultimately being that solid foundation. It's the foundation of this whole column, and it feels like it's that you're the foundation of this union in a sense. Again, it's really feeling like you're the driver, and just to remember that you can't necessarily control the entire situation or make it turn out exactly how you want to, but there's just a strong message for you, Geminis, and it feels like it may be because of some doubts, again, that you've been having, maybe some lack of confidence that's been coming up, and I feel like that's why you're coming up as this Queen of Pentacles, because you're to be reminded that you do have what it takes to try to replenish your confidence as best as you can, and try to remain in control as best as you can. Not pushing the situation or trying to manipulate it, but hold your ground and remember what you wanted when you did plant these seeds, and just hold on to that and keep envisioning it. because the Ace of Swords is really strong for that. But I feel really good about these sixes coming up too. Okay, so I'm going to wrap this up here. I would love to hear if you liked this 9-card spread better than the 4-card spread that I've been doing. So feel free to leave comments or email me about it. And again, if you'd like a private reading, the email address is soulsintersect@gmail.com. Thank you.